Need to tell you all about my Twitter fight with JD Vance. The news just broke that for the first time, the Trump administration admitted in court that they sent a father from Maryland to rot in a dictator's torture dungeon based on, quote, an error and, quote, an oversight. Even worse, the Trump administration is also arguing in court that even though they've mistakenly sent this man to a Salvadoran prison, they have no ability to bring him back. The Atlantic broke the story Monday night. The man's name is Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He came to the US in 2011 because real gang members in El Salvador were threatening to kill him. He married an American citizen, he works full-time, he's caring for 2 kids. One is a 5-year-old with autism who can't hear well or communicate. In 2019, Garcia spent a year in ICE detention because he was accused of being a gang member, an accusation based only on his Chicago Bulls hoodie and a single informant who claimed that Garcia belonged to a chapter of MS-13 in a state where he's never lived. Even the police said they didn't believe the informant. To this day, Garcia has never been charged or convicted of any crime in any country. Garcia ultimately won his case. A judge freed him and gave him a specific legal protection from being deported to El Salvador because the judge was worried that they'd torture or kill him. 6 years later, just a few weeks ago, as Garcia was picking up his son after work at his grandmother's house, ICE agents stopped him, handcuffed him, took him away from his family, and sent him to prison in El Salvador without any due process. And his wife only knew this because she saw his picture on TV. I was shaking with anger when I read this story last night. I tweeted about it. I asked if Marco Rubio or Elon Musk or JD Vance had any comment. At 1 a.m. Eastern, JD Vance wrote back. He said Garcia was a convicted MS-13 gang member, a lie, with no legal right to be here, another lie, and told me it was, quote, gross to get fired up about the government admitting that it sent an innocent man to a foreign prison. You know what's gross, JD? That unlike your own Justice Department, you can't admit that you fucked up. That you and Trump refused to call up the Salvadoran dictator who we're paying $6 million a year to jail people, some who've committed no crime, and ask him to release Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Or Andre Romero, the gay Venezuelan makeup artist who's also been wrongly imprisoned. Or any of the more than a dozen people you've now sent to be starved and tortured based on nothing more than a few suspicious tattoos. That's fucking gross. And people need to speak up. Call your member of Congress. Ask Democratic politicians to speak up. Because if JD Vance and Trump get away with this, it will not stop with immigrants. It almost never does.